tuned into She's Got Next, where real talk meets real experiences. And today I have the wonderful Tristan Moore. She's an amazing young lady who is combining her passion with science and content creation. So anything content related, you know I'm in there. So a little background about Tristan. She is pursuing a major in neuroscience and a minor in chemistry. She's a member of cohort 10 of the Chancellor Science Scholar community, where she showcases a commitment to academic excellence and a passion for scientific inquiry. She's actively engaged in groundbreaking research at the Dominguez Lab within the pharmacology department at the School of Medicine, contributing to advancements in RNA and RNA binding properties. She's also an ambassador for various companies, including partnerships with Stanley, Good Molecules, and Prada Beauty, demonstrating her strong networking and industry engagement skills. She's also looking to enroll in an MD PhD program, integrating her multidisciplinary background in neuroscience with forensics. She represents a unique blend of scientific knowledge and industry experience, making her an inspiring figure for aspiring content creators and scientists alike. Welcome, Tristan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, let's get into who is Tristan Moore. What drew you to neuroscience but also wanted to do content creation?
Yeah, so I've always loved science from like a young kid. I got this doctor kit that like came with a white lab coat and like a stethoscope for Christmas one year, and I was hooked since then. And I've always liked science and school and learning, and I feel like science really pushes me to like go out of my bounds and like push my boundaries, and just there's so much to science that I can learn, and I really like how it's never ending kind of. So that's kind of why I chose to do neuroscience, and specifically with neuroscience, I think that just the brain in general and just the nervous system and all the working parts of like the entire like neuroscience realm has really intrigued me, and so I was like, why not make it my major? It also fulfills all the pre-med requirements that I need, so
Okay.
that was definitely a plus, so I was like, yeah, why not? So yeah, that's basically my like background on why I chose science. It's just always been a passion for me. And then also with content creation, ever since I was a little kid too, I've really liked making YouTube videos and just like different kinds of videos. When I was younger, I got a camcorder for Christmas as well.
Same.
Yes, I still have it to this day. Like I make like little video montages on my Instagram now with that camcorder. So it's been with me for years.
Definitely.
But I used to make content. It actually used to be like Minecraft content, because I used to be like a wannabe gamer. But I used to set up my camcorder in front of the laptop screen, because screen recording wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
And I would take my iPad and record myself. And then I would like go in iMovie and like mesh them together to make like a video. And so I just always like enjoyed that. I always enjoyed watching other content creators online, and while my parents didn't let me post those videos, I knew that it was still so fun to make, and I think that really drove me. Once I found opportunities in college where I could be ambassadors for these different brands that I looked up to, that I'm a customer of myself, I was like, yes, to make content with them. And that's also a really good balance, because STEM can be like a lot sometimes. It can be something that, you know, I want to take my mind off of, and content creation was like the perfect thing, especially having another creative outlet other than research and other than science to have. It was really nice, and it's a good balance. So
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think I can resonate with you when you said having a camcorder. I had a pink one because I'm obsessed with the color pink. And I remember just vlogging, like acting like I was a news anchor in today's breaking news. And little did I know at that time that, you know, social media would be something I was so passionate about. At that time, when I was like, what, 8, 9, or 10, social media wasn't really a thing like that.
Yeah.
And then also, like, my parents also didn't let me post anything till I was like a lot older, until I was like in undergrad of college.
Yeah.
But I think it is amazing that social media really does open doors. Like, I was able to work with Urban Decay as a shopper for the longest.
Wow.
It's like, what? Like,
Yeah, it's
these
just
shoes,
surreal.
like putting up a camera like I'm doing now is opening doors, not only for me, but for people that I have here and talk and share their stories. So I just love content creation.
Yeah.
I really, really do.
It's so surreal working with brands that like you like look up to, and then
Yes.
you're like they reach out to you, or you like apply for something and you're like, I'm really working with this brand.
Yeah, they're sending me products to my home. Like
Yeah.
it's so surreal. Like even to this day, I'm like, I got packages coming in. Like,
Yeah, I love that you can also be like a micro influencer too.
Yes.
You don't have to be like having millions and millions of followers for them to work with you, which I really appreciate with brands now, because I think they're finally seeing that like there are communities that are just as important with creators that are smaller and have more tight-knit audiences rather than these like huge audiences, you know. So
definitely agree, and we're definitely going to dive into that.
cool.
So what inspired you to start creating content, especially since you have a pre-med background?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all, actually. Like, usually when I'm on a call and we're, like, all the ambassadors are introducing ourselves, I'm usually the one of very few that are, like, saying, like, I'm a neuroscience major or some STEM major, so it's definitely out of the ordinary, but it actually came along in a really, like, crazy, like, out of nowhere so last summer, well, not this past summer, but the summer before that, I was just trying to find like jobs, you know, on LinkedIn, on Indeed, and I wanted something that was going to be fun, but also like I could make money from and gain experience from as well. And so I knew I didn't want to work in like foods or like on Franklin Street, even though I did. I was a barista, but I wanted something just a little bit more fun, I guess.
Yeah.
And so I came across this Good Molecules ambassador job posting, and I thought it was a scam. I thought that I was like putting my life on the line by putting like my information in, but I was like, you know what? It's on LinkedIn. I like looked, and it was like linked to their LinkedIn. So I was like, okay, what's the worst that could happen? Let me just put in my name. And then a few weeks later, I got an email that was like, we want to interview with you. I got on the interview. It was a real person. She's my boss now. I love Kristen. And everything worked out. And it just felt so surreal because I was like, oh, I'm working with a brand. And this brand is like an Ulta. This brand is like, they're established. They're not a small brand. And that's like kind of when it turned, because in that ambassador role, a lot of what I was doing was events on campus and like spreading the word like locally, but we also had incentives to like post on TikTok and post on Instagram, and I took those incentives and kind of ran with them because I was like, okay, this like is a fun pastime when I'm not studying, let me do it. And I think that reignited that like creative flame back into me that I had when I was a kid, and I was like, yeah, like I want to do this, and I want to do this for other brands. So yeah, that's like kind of my origin story, and I look back and I'm just so grateful for me submitting that and not being scared. It's definitely taught me that like a good time is never like gonna come. You just need to do it and like hope for the best, and things will come from it. And now I'm here working with brands that I never thought I would work with, and yeah, it's just so rewarding.
I agree. I remember I did Good Molecules as well, like a long time ago. I think it was like 2022. And it all started with just taking a risk. I think a lot of people think that being a content creator, oh, you're just on your phone and you're posting socials. No, these are skills that are applicable to wherever you go. Project management, deliverables, event planning, all of these things. These are stuff that I've used in my professional world, but also in my own personal life. So I love that you were able to touch on both sides of that. So speaking of project management, how do you balance your rigorous academic schedule with content creation? I think a lot of people ask that about me. I work 2 jobs as well as, you know, being a student and doing content creation. I think people are just like, how do you build out your content? How do you plan out your content? So how do you do that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I do is not put too much on myself, not try to be so strict on myself, and give myself grace. Having a lot of I'm taking 6 STEM classes this semester, and I work for 3 different brands. So that's definitely a lot on my plate, but what I like to do is I like to devote, so I remind myself why I'm really here, and I'm here for school, so I'm always going to put school first. You know, I try to get all my homework done in the week, and then on the weekends I'll devote to content creation and, you know, catching up on that and making sure all those deadlines are in, just so that I can like fully be in the content creation mode, because it is so hard to make a video and be happy and all of this and like engaging, and like you're not feeling it. So I just tell myself, the week, you're probably never going to be feeling it. Your days, like, go way too long for that. So just, like, film it on the weekends when you're refreshed, and you can just do that all day. And then for, like, editing and content and, like, event planning and all that stuff, I just, like, try to do it little by little. Like, sometimes, like, I'm really down to, like, sit down and devote, like, 3 to 4 hours on, like, doing all of it at once, or sometimes like I like to break it up within the week and like not necessarily make the content, but write out the script, or edit maybe a minute of the content that I'm like posting the next week, instead of like trying to push myself so hard, because I think it's so important. Well, I think sometimes I get, and maybe others get, lost in like trying to be perfect and trying to keep up this image that like they don't need rest, they don't need to like stop, and I like fall into that all the time. But I had to just like continue to remind myself, and I think I've gotten better at it, is like I'm still a person, and I still have 6 STEM classes. That's still hard. I still have 3 jobs. Like, just because I'm doing it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna struggle, I'm not gonna fall back, and just giving myself that grace to be like, it's okay if you didn't get that deadline in, like your mental deadline, as long as you get it in by the deadline, like you're good. So yeah, I just try to give myself grace, but also plan out my content schedule as like equally as possible throughout all the days. So yeah,
That's awesome. I think all of my guests on my podcast have said, give yourself grace.
Yeah.
I think that is the theme for this season, of giving yourself grace and acknowledging when you have to step back and that you can't give yourself 110% into a project. So I love that. So my next question is, you are in neuroscience, you're a content creator, you also have to give yourself self-care, sleep. What is a typical day in the life for you? Like, if you could give us a snapshot.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, so I wake up promptly at 7:30 because usually on my busiest days I have 4 classes.
Mhm.
So I go to class. In between classes, I'm doing homework. After class, I'm usually going to the lab. I work in a research lab, like you stated, in the Dominguez Lab. So that's actually another job that I have. So I'll do research for about like 3 hours, give or take, and then I'll come home and I'll do more homework. And in that time that I'm doing homework, I'll be planning out the next round of content that I need for that next week. So for different brands, they have different themes or just different things that we have to get done. For instance, for Good Molecules, I look over other ambassadors. So on the days at night, I'm like looking at what my ambassadors have done, what assignments they've like completed, what they need to do, how they're doing. And that's like a day-by-day basis. I'm also looking at Stanley, what I need to post for them, what I need to look at, content review, if I need to reshoot content, and planning that out for my weekend, so that like when I get to the weekend, I know exactly what I need to do, instead of like, okay, it's Saturday, now what do I do?
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's usually what I'm doing. I'm usually doing school, research, homework, content creation, and it's usually like that every single day. Yeah.
I love it. It's so detailed. I feel like we have the similar day in the lives. For me, it's like go to class. In between class, I got work, and then also planning my content calendar, and also making sure I get some rest for myself.
Yeah.
But it's also, it's like a thrill. It's like, oh my gosh, after class, I have a video to go make. Like,
I love
that part.
Yes.
Me too. I'm like, if I'm not booked and busy, it's a problem.
Like, you'll hear me complain. Like,
Yeah.
don't get it twisted. You will hear me complain. But I'm just so grateful, and that's like something else that like I had to remind myself of, is that I wanted all of this. I wanted to be in content creation. I wanted to be in these neuro classes and these other STEM classes. I wanted to be in research, and now I have it all. So like, it's gonna be hard. It's not gonna be the funnest sometimes, but it's going to be so rewarding, and you'll get through it. I mean, I like to tell myself that you have a 100% success rate. You've never not gotten through a day, so what makes you think you're not gonna get through this one too?
That is the quote for your episode.
That is the quote.
That is the quote. I have nothing to add to that.
I love that quote. I've heard that quote. I think I heard it in a sermon. I'm like a woman of faith, and I like really resonated with that sermon one time, and I've just taken that with me through everything, through every sector of my life, like I have to continue to remind myself that you are, first of all, not defined by your failures, and you've never completely failed before. So why do you think you're gonna fail now? And it's been 20 years. Like, let's be for real. So yeah, just basically, keeping myself like grounded is really, really important to get through every single day. So.
That's amazing. So we talked a lot about content creation.
Mm-hmm.
How would you give advice to those who want to get in content creation, but their background doesn't necessarily align with it? And how do you encourage them?
Yeah, what I would say is that your background is going to align with it. It doesn't matter if you have this major that like makes sense. Like that's kind of something that I ran into too, was like, are these brands gonna hire me? Because I don't really have like this background. Like before Good Molecules, I didn't have anything. I knew how to do research. But those skills that I learned in research, like communication and presentation skills, those things that I put on my resume when I was applying to Good Molecules, I'm not certain what they saw, but like those are skills that you also need in that field too. So if you don't feel prepared, I promise you there's probably some soft skills that you have that don't necessarily like align with one certain profession. They can be translated into many different things. So if you're feeling like you don't know where to start on what you like.
Yeah.
I also didn't know. I think I've just gotten really like solidified into what I want to do, and it's like lifestyle content. I live my life every day, and I really think that it's important for content creators, especially up and coming ones, to show their authentic selves. I think authenticity is something that is kind of wishy-washy on social media at the moment, and so like as content creators start to build their brands, I think authenticity is so important. So that's what I try to do, and that's why I wanted to be a lifestyle content creator. So I would just say like start with what you like, and if that doesn't, I wouldn't look at the analytics, I wouldn't look at anything. I would literally just post what you like to do in your life, and that will translate so much more than you trying to like figure out what the masses like. Of course, analytics later on are going to help you grow your brand even more, but starting out, people are going to understand, and they can see when you don't want to do something really, and you're just doing it to either make money, get views, whatever, get likes. But if you're doing something that you actually enjoy, people are going to see that, people are going to want to watch you more, and people are going to give their opinion.
Yeah.
People that watch your videos, they will tell you what they like, they'll tell you what they don't like, and you can even ask your viewers like, hey, like, did you like this content? What should I make in the future? Like for instance, like I felt really stuck one time when I was making content because I felt like I was just making content for brands, and I was like kind of losing me in my content. And so I was looking through the comments, and I saw somebody say like, do a makeup routine. I'm like, I do my makeup basically every day. I would love to do a makeup routine. And that's what I did, and it reignited that flame, and it also attracted more people because I was being myself in that video, and it wasn't for a brand, it wasn't for anything, it was just Tristan doing what she loves to do. And I think that really was shown through my content, and so it attracted more people. And then I feel like once you get those people, those really loyal followers, whether it's 1 follower, 3 followers, it'll just make you want to do content more because, I don't know, you feel like you don't want to let those people down, like those are your true followers, and 2, like they like what you're doing, that ignites something in you to want to continue to do it. And so, yeah, I would just say don't put too much on yourself. Again, give yourself grace. And just, don't think about it too much. It's not that serious.
I agree with what you said. It's all about authenticity. I kid you not, like my highest performed TikTok video right now is behind the scenes footage of me taking me and my boyfriend's Christmas photos. Like it's sitting at 23K views, and I was like, I didn't tag Target because those were the pajamas. I was just like, this is so cute behind the scenes of pictures and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I constantly get likes and comments. Where did you get the PJs? This is so cute. How did you stage the camera? And I was like, all the videos on my profile page. That's the one you guys love the most.
Yeah,
But
I swear the universe works like that.
yeah,
Like, once you stop caring so much, then it's gonna come to fruition, and then you'll be like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I guess I'll just be my normal self, raw and uncut.
Exactly, which is what people want to see. Like, especially, I would also look inward in yourself. You, as my friend, I'm gonna shout out my friend Corey. He said that you are a professional content consumer, and so you know what you like. You know what you don't like when influencers do like some certain thing. So you know the guidelines. You know what you like, and I would just put that into your work too. Like if you like lifestyle content, or if you like gaming, or whatever you like, just start with that. And the people that you look up to, take their advice and do what they do. And if that works, then you can also put your unique spin on it. And I feel like that's how people grow. They obviously look at people that have been successful in the past, and then they put their own spin on it, and it really helps them grow too. So if you don't know where to start and you're just like, I don't know, well, look into what you like when you're viewing TikTok or when you're viewing Instagram, and I think that will really help too.
That's such sound advice. So we talked about the glitz and glamour of content creation, influencer events, PR, all of that stuff, but no one ever talks about the burnout and the challenges that come with it. How do you keep yourself sane and give yourself moments where you're like, okay, I'm about to head down this path of burnout. How can I get myself back on track?
Yeah. Wholeheartedly, like there are some days where like I'm doing nothing, and there are hard days where I feel like I can't fit everything in the day. Like I want more than 24 hours some days, maybe every day. And I just feel so stuck and lost, and that is such a regular feeling that I had to tell myself it's a regular feeling to have, and other people probably have that feeling too. And so on those days, I just allow myself to, do what I want to do. If I don't want to make content creation that day, it's obviously going to like show in my content. So just do something else for it, plan it out, or don't do anything, like take a mental health day and take a day to reset, because that rest day is going to do so much for you, rather than if you push yourself that day and then, oh, look, it's like going over to the next day and it's rolling over and it's making you feel bad for 2 days instead of one. So, there's a lot of times where I'm just, like, I just step back and I'm like, I can't do this right now. And in those times, again, I just have to remind myself that this is regular, this is okay to have these feelings, and you can only put so much on your plate, and you can only do so much before you get a little burnt out. So burnout is so real, and I think it's necessary too, because it kind of puts you back in check. Like, your body knows when you need to stop. And so I feel like this burnout feeling, it's like, okay, we need to reset, and we need to figure out how to like change the way that we're living right now, so that we can, come back better, So when I have burnout, like I said, I just push myself, like I step away, and I'll go do something that I like that has nothing to do with content creation, with science, with school. It has nothing to do with it, and it's usually hanging out with my friends and like just driving. Like I love to drive, so sometimes me and my friends will go on drives, or something that really takes my mind off of everything. And like in those moments too, I won't let myself like talk about content. I won't let myself talk about school or how many assignments I have left or anything like that, because it's a time that I need to rest. And so usually after that, I will feel a lot better, and I'll come back, and sometimes then it turns into procrastination. Like the rest becomes like a little bit too long, and then you start to procrastinate. And what I use is this 2-minute rule, and it's just work on something for 2 minutes. And then you'll find yourself that you worked on it for way longer than 2 minutes, unless you're like counting the minutes. But you'll be working on it for 2 minutes, and I find myself like then getting in the flow of it, and then boom, a whole assignment is done, or a whole video is done already. And that's really how it's kind of like a cycle, and I know that like right now I'm not burnt out, but I know that I'll probably have a burnout in the future, and I'll do the same thing, and just, push myself to, get back up and then keep going.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We talked about the highs, we talked about the lows. Now, for someone who's listening or watching this, wanting to know how they can become an aspiring content creator, what is some advice that you would give to them now, starting out, like equipment, platforms, mentality? What's something that you could share?
Yeah, I think one thing, like I said, going back, finding your niche and finding what you like. And then once you find that niche, I would make one content and post it to every single social media platform that you have. Post it to YouTube Shorts. People don't use that enough, but sometimes it does go far. Post it to Instagram Reels. Post it to TikTok, and then you can see from there, one, which platform you like the best, and two, which platform gives you the most that you want out of it. And then after that, I would just, if something works, don't break it, keep going. And then with content, like the actual equipment, I use my phone. I use my phone every single picture that I post for brands, for myself. I'm always using my phone. So I don't think that you need this like elaborate equipment set up to do something. I don't think that should hinder anybody. And then I also use CapCut. CapCut is actually really good. The free version is wildly like inclusive. I didn't know about CapCut until like 2 weeks ago, so I just started using it. But it's so nice, and you can do it right on your phone. See, everything's on your phone, Accessibility, and that's another thing with now, like content creation now, it's so easy to be a content creator. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that it's so easy to gain a following, but it's so easy to be a content creator and do what you like to do on these different platforms. So just go for it. There's never going to be a right time ever. Yeah. You're never going to feel ready. So just post that video, see if you like it. If you don't like it, cool, You can either try another route about like another sector of like content that you like or media, or you can just step back and like figure out, do I want to do content, do I want to help others with their content, and so I would say just go for it, so.
That's perfect. So how do you see your interest in neuroscience and content creation evolving in the near future?
Yeah, so when I find time in my schedule, I definitely want to start incorporating what I'm learning in my STEM classes to the things that I'm promoting. For example, like good molecules, obviously somebody has to make the product, and that comes with a lot of chemistry, and I really like chemistry. I like the field of cosmetic chemistry, and so I think being a guide for like those big jargon words that are on the back of bottles would be a really fun project for me, but also very helpful to the community around me, especially if I'm like promoting these products. Like I should probably know what I'm talking about, and it would be even nicer to like if somebody came to me and was like, there's this big word on the back of this bottle and I don't know if I should put this on my face, I could be like, well, here, like this is what that means, and like just break it down, because I know that a lot of people can look at those words and feel intimidated and then be pushed away from the product, but they're actually like really good ingredients that will help you a lot. And so I really got inspired by this keynote speaker at this research conference that I went to. I'll tell you the name so you can put it on the screen, but I don't remember her name. I think her name is Tanya Lane, but I don't want to like say that wrong. But so I got really inspired by her to do it, and just I always want to give back to my community in some way when I'm making this content. I want the content to have a purpose, and I feel like this will be the perfect like intersection between the two, and it's just gonna be so fun. So
I'm so excited to see you go on your journey in this process, and I feel like that is something that is going to be more prevalent in the near future of content creation and STEM, because everyone is going to TikTok for information and everyone is on their professors.
That's what I do.
And it's like right at your fingertips. So I'm excited to see how you plan that. So I'd like to ask all my guests a fun, quick little closing question.
Okay.
If you could fast forward 5 years into the future, what's one thing you hope to see in your life or career? Or both?
In my life, I hope to be in a MD PhD program somewhere. They're highly competitive.
You
So.
will.
Oh, thank you. I hope to be like somewhere that I love that really like helps me with pathology, like going back to forensics. I know we didn't talk about it a lot, but forensic pathology is like something that I'm really passionate about, but there's not a lot of programs for it, so that would be so cool. I hope to see myself in a really good program that helps me get really close to pathology. And then I also hope to, I don't know if, I hope to, I don't even know what to expect with my content, but I hope that this introducing the, combining like STEM and content creation, especially with like defining words or different products, like I hope that evolves maybe into like reviewing hair products or skincare products or working with brands in that way instead of being like a content creator to promote their product. I can be like that and educating my viewers on that. That would be super cool. I still want to maintain this like balance between content creation and science, so hopefully I can do that in the future.
I feel like you're definitely going to be able to do that. And I think this is a evolving demographic of everyone wanting to know what is in the products that I utilize. Like
Yeah.
I'm always questioning. I also have hyperpigmentation, so I'm very mindful of the topicals that I put on my face, and having someone like you giving me the insights. Well, this is what it's actually called, and these are the benefits. So I'm looking forward to seeing where you come up with that.
Really nice to have a face,
Yeah.
instead of a whole big brand saying that this is like dermatologist recommended.
Yeah.
This is dermatologist.
Do they look like me?
Yeah, exactly. So having a face that is like actually telling me those facts it's really helpful. So
That's awesome. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of She's Got Next. I just want to say thank you, Tristan, for taking the wonderful time out of your day to sit down with me, of course. And I'm so excited to see where you go. And I'm so excited to look back on this when you tell me that you got into your MD PhD program. And I will be interviewing her again when she's in that program to see how she's doing. But for all my listeners out there, make sure that you keep shining, keep striving, and remember, you've got next.